What's up, guys? It's Brandon and Kaylee. Today we're here with Kaylee's 2022 Mini Cooper SE Signature Plus, and we're going to be doing a 70 mile per hour range test. Like I said, we're going to be doing a 70 mile per hour highway range test. We're going to be doing this on fairly flat ground. It's not windy today, only about 2 mile an hour winds. And we're going to be going on Interstate 77 just south of Rock Hill, South Carolina. We're on the 17-inch tentacle spoke wheels, and they are set to manufacturer recommended tire pressure. And we're DC fast charging it here at Circle K all the way up to 100%. Should be finishing up here in just a moment. We're up to 99% right now, so just give it a moment here. That way the battery is up to temperature and nice and conditioned for the drive, and we're not having the battery heat up or cool down. It is about 90 degrees outside, so we're going to be using the AC to stay comfortable, but we're going to be setting that to 68 with the fan set to probably about 2. And as soon as this finishes up, we're going to hit the road, and then I'll give you another update once we're going. All right, it took longer than expected, but we are at 100%. We're at 1831 miles. And I've just reset the trip meter, and we're going to head out. So we're doing gentle acceleration to get up to 70 miles per hour here on I-77. And then we will be activating cruise control and doing a GPS verification of the speed on the speedo compared to GPS speed. And I did check the tire pressures. They are set to manufacturer recommended. And we'll check in at 75, 50, and 25%. On this Mini, I have verified that 72 miles per hour indicated is actually 70 miles actual. So we're probably gonna end up driving, I would guess, around 50 miles, and then we'll turn around and come back, but we'll pay attention and see how the exits line up when we get close to about 50-55%. And we can always go past the return point if necessary, but we wanna keep this as close to a loop style test as possible by only going down and back. We are now at 75%, and we had to slow down a little bit because of traffic, but we'll get back up in just a second here. So far, we've driven 29 miles, and like I said, we're at 75%. So that puts us on track for about 116 miles, I think that is. Doing math in my head here while I'm driving, which is not my strong suit, I'd say. And we're just gonna keep on going, and then when we get to around 55% or so, we'll turn around and head back. All right, we have reached our turnaround point. We have gone 49 miles so far. We're at 58% state of charge, averaging 3.8 miles per kilowatt hour. Not trying to regen too much here, but this is a pretty easy, just get off, take a left, take another left to get right back onto the interstate going north this time. We did unfortunately hit a bit of a bout of rain on the way, which will probably hit again going north. So that slowed us down a little bit, so I went a little bit faster to kind of make up for it. This is the real world. This is not a scientific test, but doing the best I can. And I'm not regenning too much here, kind of just coasting along as much as possible until we get to the stop sign. That was a full stop, right?
Totally.
And now we're gonna get back on and see you guys at 50% and then at 25%. Now at 50%, we've driven 57 miles, so that puts us, assuming it's linear, at 114 miles for 100%. We're averaging 3.8 miles per kilowatt hour, and we're at 1,889 miles on the odometer so far. And we did turn around slightly early, like I mentioned. We turned around, I think it was 56%. You'll know better than I because that clip will be right before. But that way we can turn around easier going a little bit past the charging station. There's a lot more exits that direction than heading this way into kind of rural areas. But we'll see you guys at 25%. My God, can't take my eye off you. All right, we just hit 25%. Cars projecting 24 miles remaining. So far we're averaging 3.8 miles per kilowatt hour. We've gone 84 miles with 75% of the battery used. That puts us at estimated 112 miles of range using 100%. And like I was saying, we are going to have to go past the charging station a bit because there are more exits that way. There is some construction there, so I'll do my best to maintain 70 miles per hour. But I will see you guys as we get a bit closer here, probably at 10%, I'd say. We are now at 10% state of charge. We've crossed 101 miles driven, and we have actually gone past the charging station that we started at. So we're going 2 exits past, and then we'll turn around, and that should put us pretty much dead. The car is now popping up range 8 miles, and I think it's probably about 6.5 miles. So we might drive around a little bit near the charging station on the side roads just to get it all the way down to like 1 or 0% roughly. But we should be able to do almost this entire range test at 70 miles per hour. And right now we're averaging 3.9 miles per kilowatt hour and average speed of 69.8 miles per hour, including the turnaround. So I'd say we're doing pretty darn well on this test for keeping it as accurate as possible. So we'll see you when we turn around here, and I'll give you an update then. We just exited to turn around here for the second time. So 8%, we have 4.6 miles to go back to the charger. It's giving me a pop-up there of 7 miles range remaining. And there we have it, 103 miles driven. So I'll see you guys in a little bit. And we'll do our best to maintain 70, but once we get off the exit for the charger, we'll probably do kind of some circles to just drain the battery a bit. So we are just now seeing our first evidence of power cut, down to about 80% power at 7% state of charge. So I'd say it's doing pretty good at maintaining power all the way through the through the battery range. And here we have our first evidence of actually saying that the battery is really low versus just telling me how many miles I have remaining. So electric range severely reduced at 5% there. So we've now ended our 70 mile per hour section. We've gone 107 miles, which I would say is a very strong result. This car is EPA rated combined for 114 miles of range, but that's usually not indicative of highway driving range. So now we're going to do just some side roads driving and see if we can get it a little bit more down to from 4% currently down to probably 1% or so. I'd say we can probably get 110 miles out of this if you include the little bit of side road driving that we're about to do. So definitely better than I anticipated. Tom Logney got 103 miles on his 70 mile per hour.
And I predicted that we were going to get 104, so.
Okay. And if you haven't already, make sure you hit the like button, the subscribe button, and that way you can see the future content, all the EVs we're planning on getting that we currently have, and you can see the 0 to 100 DC fast charging test that I'm actually going to film as soon as we're done with this. Well, here we have it, folks. We've got it down to 0 miles estimated remaining. It is at 1%, but I'm not feeling confident enough to push it super hard. And here we did 112 miles, or as you remember, we did 107 miles at 70 miles per hour. So we did about 5 miles, just kind of tooling around town here, probably 30, 40 miles per hour average. And just want to show you guys that before we plug in. And Kaylee, what do we think of the result? You've obviously driven this car more than I have.
Yeah, so I was talking to Brandon earlier, and I said about 104 is what I expected, and it went 107, so a few more than I expected, which is good, but right around what I thought. I can get like 115 typically if I'm doing like side roads a lot, so seems about right.
Yeah, I'd say if you're on a road trip with one of these, which I would say most people probably aren't road tripping them, probably plan on somewhere between like 90 and 105 miles at interstate speeds, depending on how quickly you drive. If you drive like I normally drive, probably plan on like 80 to 90 miles. If you're driving like 70 miles an hour most of the time, you can probably plan on getting a little over 100 miles. But of course, the charging stations will have to be kind of pretty much perfectly spaced to really maximize that. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to use that anyway. And you're not going to want to charge to 100%. Except for on level 2 before you depart anyway. So realistically, from 80%, you're probably going to plan on like 75 miles or so. Just makes your life a little bit easier. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. If you haven't already, hit the like button, subscribe button. We'll have either before or after this a 0 to 100 DC fast charge test. But yeah, I think we're pretty impressed with the turnout from this range test. See you guys next time.
Bye!
My heart is ready for something I have been had in a long time. True.